We start with the pending indictment of President Biden's son. Federal prosecutors plan to ask a grand jury to indict Hunter Biden by the end of the month. That's according to court documents filed Wednesday in Delaware by recently appointed special counsel David Weiss and his team. The filing lays out plans to bring charges related to a gun purchase made back in 2018. The investigation dates back almost 5 years and includes accusations that Hunter Biden failed to pay taxes. The pending indictment comes after the collapse of a plea deal back in July. Let's welcome now to see what's happening legally here, David Weinstein, a former federal prosecutor. David, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome, Kelly. Glad to be able to help explain things here.
Well, we're looking forward to it. So as you know, David Weiss has repeatedly said this is an ongoing investigation. Is this the end in your view, or could there be subsequent indictments after this indictment is filed?
I think his statement that this is an ongoing investigation touches not on the gun charges and the tax charges that we've already seen filed by way of information, but rather the foreign business relationships dealings that were undertaken by Hunter Biden. And now that Weiss has been given an appointment as a special counsel, he's empowered to take a look at that. That's really where the hangup was when this plea deal fell apart. He wasn't in a position to give any grants of immunity or guarantee any sort of global resolution. So that, I think, to me, is what the ongoing part of his investigation would be.
So right now, it appears once indicted, Hunter Biden could face prosecution as his father seeks re-election. From your experience, does that timeline sync up, and how long can we expect the trial to last?
Well, if the only charges that are filed are the two existing misdemeanor tax charges and then this felony gun charge, those are cases that are going to be over relatively soon in the federal district court. This is September. Those cases could be sent to trial by December or January. The re-election process or the election process doesn't begin to go until sometime after that. So this could all be resolved and over before any real campaigning for re-election takes place.
Understood. So if Hunter Biden is found guilty, what sort of punishment would you expect?
Well, while the gun charge, if filed, or if an additional gun charge for failing to fill out the right forms at the time he purchased the gun was filed, while they carry a maximum penalty of 10 years, he's not looking at that much time under the guidelines. A rough calculation is about 6 to 12 months based on the guidelines that would be recommended. So not a significant amount of time.
And what news of this new indictment, as you know, David, comes as House Republicans are preparing for a likely impeachment inquiry of President Biden. So in your view, what's at stake here?
Well, I think certainly, again, as to the gun and the tax charges, not much more than was before. The foreign business dealings, that's something that may interject or impose some additional questions upon what's going on in Congress with regard to the president because of the allegations that he may have been involved in these foreign business dealings. That, I think, is where the crossover is going to be.
And do you think there is a world where we see the president testify?
Well, you know, in terms of at the trial of his son, not during an actual trial for guilt or innocence. I think as with any parent, if his son is found guilty or if his son enters a plea deal and it comes time for sentencing, he will come to the courtroom for sentencing and say what every parent would about their child who is looking at a potential prison sentence. In terms of the inquiry from Congress, I'm not sure that his lawyers are going to advise him to provide any testimony there. He'll be available if subpoenaed. Certainly, there are immunity questions with regard to executive privilege and other items that he might exert. So that one's a bit more up in the air.
All right, David Weinstein, I appreciate your analysis as always. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.